Today we dive into two shocking AITA stories where misunderstandings, emotions, and unexpected reactions lead to chaos. And you get to decide who's truly in the wrong. Welcome back to the channel. Today we explore two real stories from Reddit's Am I the Asshole community. Stories where small moments turned into big consequences. Let's get into the first one.
Am I the asshole for ruining my mom's marriage? My mom blames me for her husband filing for divorce. They got married when I was 10. I'm 17 now. He wanted kids, but my mom couldn't have more, so he decided he would be fine being a dad to me instead. Only, I never saw him as my dad. I already had one. He died, but he was still my dad. Not someone who married my mom when I was 10. We got along okay, but it always disappointed him when I said no to him adopting me, or when I called him by his first name instead of Dad. He called me his daughter. I hated it, but I never said anything. I would always correct people when they referred to him as my dad. I thought that would make it clear nothing was changing for me. A few months ago, I did a school art project about my parents, and I drew my mom and my dad, my real dad. It wasn't meant for anyone outside the class to see, but my teacher emailed it to my mom because she thought I was talented and should be encouraged more. He saw it too. And I guess that was the final straw for him. He told my mom he couldn't live without being a parent. He said he thought he could be a father to me, but I had never given him a chance. He didn't want to wait until I was 40 to maybe change my mind. He said that at 51, he could still find a woman who would give him kids of his own. Then he left my mom and filed for divorce. Before he left, he told me he hoped I'd regret rejecting him someday, because I had no idea how good I could have had it. Ever since, my mom has blamed me. She told me I needed to make it up to him so he wouldn't go through with the divorce, but I refused to lie just to get him back. She told me he had been in my life almost as long as my real dad was, and he would have seen me get married someday and become a grandfather to my future kids. And now, I had nobody. She asked who I would call a father figure now. I told her I never called him my father figure. That title always belonged to my grandpas. My mom said the fact that I would still argue with her after ruining her marriage showed how little I cared about her. I told her I loved her, and that's why I tried to get along with him. I told her I didn't want anyone else after my dad died, but I knew she did, so I accepted him being in the house. But I was never going to let someone be my dad just so she could have a husband. She said I was making excuses and should feel more shame for ruining something so good. So, am I the asshole?
Now let's take a look at what the Reddit community had to say about this situation.
If the success of their marriage relied on the feelings of a third person, especially a child, it was never going to last. That is not a solid foundation. You did not ruin their marriage. They did. Your stepdad wanted children, and your mother couldn't give him children. They married anyway, despite that fundamental incompatibility. Now they've finally recognized it. This has nothing to do with you. You're simply the easier one to blame. If they didn't blame you, they would have to admit that they should never have gotten married, and that's a hard truth to face. I'm sorry they're putting you in this position, but this is not your fault. You're not the asshole.
Another user jumped in to expand on that perspective.
Exactly. I think your stepdad was trying to have you fill the void of being childless after he realized your mother couldn't give him a child of his own. Being a father to someone isn't about blood. It's a bond built on trust and genuine connection. From what you described, it seems like your stepdad tried to push his way into becoming a father figure without understanding what actually makes someone deserving of that role. He shouldn't have forced himself into that position. Ironically, his insistence on being your dad without considering your feelings probably pushed you even further away.
Someone else agreed, adding their own personal experience to the discussion.
My husband having a biological child was a deal breaker for him too. I wasn't able to have another after 7 years of trying. My kids do see him as their dad, but he's told me that my health is more important than him having a biological child. He loves us enough not to care. My kids were very young when he came into our lives. He never expected them to call him Dad. That was their choice. I was happy they did, especially since their biological dads were not present. Either way, if your mom's husband truly loved her, he would have decided it didn't matter.
Another commenter pointed out just how simple this could have been for the mother.
I came here to say the same thing. Her husband should have been honest with her, and with himself. He should have admitted that this wasn't going to work if having children was so important to him. There are plenty of women who would have been happy to give him that. And there are also plenty of men who would have understood and respected the fact that your mom couldn't have any more children. This was never your fault, not at all.
And finally, someone didn't hold back in describing the mother's attitude.
These two people should never have gotten married. There was too much imbalance from the start. You should consider speaking to a professional about what you're going through, and depending on how things continue, you may need to distance yourself from your mother at some point, especially once you're old enough to move out if nothing changes. None of this is on you.
Now, if you thought that situation was messy, wait until you hear this next story. It begins with a simple conversation about a child's name, and ends with a furious parent claiming their kid's life is ruined.
Am I the asshole for ruining a child's life? Today, I started talking to an American mother while I was in A&E. Her little girl liked the artwork on my leather jacket because it's very colorful. The mother told me her daughter's name was Grain, so I assumed she was one of those parents who wants a unique name for their child. I said it was a very distinctive name and that I'd never met anyone called Grain before. She told me her daughter was named after her great-grandmother and that it was an Irish name. At that point, alarm bells started ringing in my head because I realized the little girl was named Gran, which is normally pronounced something like grow new. I tried to be very tactful. I said, Irish has such an interesting alphabet. How is her name spelled? Irish names can be tricky. And yes, the child's name is Gran, not Grain. My partner, who studied Irish political history and the Irish diaspora at university, was somewhere between trying not to laugh and dying of a secondhand embarrassment, so I tried to come up with what I thought was a very positive, kind reply. I said an old school name with a more modern pronunciation. I think that's a great way to choose names. For the record, I do not like the name Grain for a child, and I didn't like the way the pronunciation was butchered, but I genuinely tried to be positive. The mother asked what I meant, so I explained. Well, in Ireland, they typically pronounce it like grow nya. Her face went bright red. She told me I should not have said that the pronunciation was wrong in front of her daughter because now the child would grow up knowing her name was wrong and she would feel bad about it. I apologized for offending her and repeated that it's a lovely name either way and a wonderful nod to her family heritage. I said her great-grandmother would probably be thrilled to have her name carried on. I was throwing out every bit of positive reinforcement I could think of, but she was furious. She told me I had ruined her daughter's self-esteem and that her life was ruined because I supposedly told them that her existence was wrong. I absolutely did not say that. I only said her name was pronounced in an unusual way. For context, little Gran was about 2 years old and completely unbothered by the situation. She was just enjoying the drawings on my jacket until her mother got upset. The entire conversation lasted maybe 5 minutes. but apparently I managed to destroy a child's life. Looking back, I probably should have kept my mouth shut and let someone else in this very Irish city be the one to point it out. So, am I the asshole?
Here's how Reddit reacted to this awkward and honestly surprising interaction.
Not the arsehole. You didn't embarrass the child, you embarrassed the parent. And honestly, she should be embarrassed for giving her kid a name she didn't even know how to pronounce. In reality, you did the child a favor by pointing this out early so the mom can deal with it now. She would have found out eventually, and it could have happened when she was old enough to be genuinely embarrassed.
Other commenters built on that point with their own thoughts.
It's better for the child to learn the correct pronunciation now rather than face it later and get teased for it. The mom needs to take responsibility here.
Another user agreed but took a more critical view of the mother's behavior.
You're totally not the asshole. The parent is being overly sensitive and didn't do her research. Honestly, this is part of her job as a parent, and not even the hard part. Choosing a name is easy. Being a thoughtful parent is the difficult part. She's already failing at that.
Someone else chimed in, pointing out how easy it would have been to avoid all of this.
Not the asshole. I completely agree. I just Googled the pronunciation myself, and it took me 2 seconds. The mom could have done the exact same thing.
And one final commenter didn't hesitate to call out the mother's attitude directly.
It's honestly offensive that she didn't even learn how to pronounce the name. It shows you exactly what kind of person she is. She's the type who walks diagonally through the parking lot and blocks the aisle with her shopping cart. She just does whatever she wants and resents being held accountable.
These two stories really show how complicated human interactions can get. One moment, a teenager is being unfairly blamed for the collapse of a marriage, and the next, someone is being accused of ruining a child's life, simply for explaining how a name is traditionally pronounced. Neither situation is black and white, and that's what makes them so interesting. So tell me, which story did you relate to more? Which one frustrated you, and who do you think was in the wrong? I want to hear your thoughts in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you don't miss the next set of AITA stories. We drop new episodes every week, and trust me, some of them get even crazier than these. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.